the wind swept across the Montana plains, carrying dust and whispers of the past. The year was 1886, a time when survival meant strength, and compassion was rarer than gold. The sun hung low, painting the horizon in hues of amber and rust. Amid that endless stretch of land, a lone figure stumbled through the tall grass, a woman, barefoot, her hair tangled with dirt and wind, her skin marked by the unforgiving sun. Her name was Aiyana, a woman once admired in her tribe for her grace and beauty. But that same beauty had become her curse. Envy, jealousy, and fear had turned her people against her. Some said she was blessed by spirits, others whispered she brought bad luck. One night, as the fire crackled and elders muttered, the decision was made: Aiyana would be banished. Her tears fell quietly as they took her beads, her horse, her home, everything she knew. They left her with only the clothes on her back and a small pouch of dried herbs. She was told never to return. For 3 days and nights she walked, hungry, cold, and haunted by memories. Coyotes howled in the distance. Her lips cracked, her feet bled, and still she moved forward. Every breath became a battle, every step a prayer. When the 4th day came, she found herself near a river, a thin ribbon of silver cutting through the golden fields. She knelt, her reflection rippling in the water. The woman staring back at her looked like a ghost, hollow eyes, skin streaked with dust and pain. She whispered, "Is this how my story ends?" Then everything went dark. Miles away, Eli Turner, a rancher in his early 30s, was out mending a broken fence. A veteran of the Civil War, Eli had seen more death than any man should. After the war, he'd come west, hoping the silence of the land would heal what the world had taken from him. But silence has a way of echoing the past. Every night he dreamed of faces, men he couldn't save, promises he couldn't keep. That morning, as he rode along the riverbank, his horse suddenly stopped. Eli frowned and looked down. Someone, was lying near the water. He jumped off his horse and rushed forward. There, half buried in mud, was the frail body of a woman. Her skin was cold, her pulse faint. Without hesitation, he lifted her gently and carried her to his horse. "Easy now," he murmured. "You're safe." Back at his cabin, Eli laid her near the fire, wrapped her in a blanket, and gave her water drop by drop. Hours passed before she stirred. When her eyes fluttered open, she gasped and tried to sit up, fear flashing across her face. "It's all right," Eli said softly, raising his hands. "You're safe. I won't hurt you." Aiyana looked around, confusion and distrust clouding her gaze. She had seen what white men did to women like her. She didn't know if this one was any different. "Why did you help me?" she asked hoarsely. Eli hesitated. "Because no one else would." The answer was simple, but something in his voice told her it was the truth. Days turned into weeks. Aiyana recovered slowly, helping Eli around the ranch in small ways, fetching water, grinding corn, mending clothes. Though they spoke little, there was a quiet understanding between them. Eli admired her resilience, Aiyana respected his gentleness, a rare thing in such a harsh world. Sometimes, at dusk, she sang softly in her native tongue, songs of rain and rebirth. Eli would sit on the porch, listening. Her voice carried something ancient, something that made the land itself seem alive. But not everyone saw things the same way. The nearest town, Red Creek, was full of hard men and suspicious eyes. Word spread quickly: a savage woman was living with Eli Turner. They said she was cursed, dangerous, that she'd be the end of him. One afternoon, as Eli traded supplies in town, a rancher named Cole Ramsey sneered at him. "Heard you got yourself a wild one, Turner. Careful, folks say her kind brings trouble." Eli's jaw tightened. "She's just a person, same as you or me." Cole spat on the ground. "Ain't the same. You keep her there, you'll bring the tribe or worse, the law." Eli didn't respond. He knew men like Cole, afraid of what they didn't understand. But fear was contagious, and soon whispers turned into threats. That night, Aiyana noticed Eli pacing outside, his face tense. "They will come for me," she said quietly. "Let them," he replied. "They'll have to go through me first." Her eyes filled with tears. "Why do you risk everything for me?" Eli looked at her, the firelight flickering across his scarred face. because once, someone saved me when I didn't deserve it. I never forgot that. For a moment, the silence between them was heavy, then Aiyana reached for his hand. Then may the spirits remember your kindness. The next evening, as the sun dipped behind the hills, the sound of horses thundered in the distance. A group of riders approached, torches in hand, townsmen, led by Cole Ramsey. Their shouts broke the stillness of the plains. Turner. Bring her out. Eli stepped onto the porch, rifle in hand. She stays where she is, he called. Cole rode forward. You're harboring a trespasser. She's got no place here. She's done nothing wrong. That ain't the point. Eli's voice hardened. It's the only point that matters. The men exchanged uneasy glances. No one wanted a fight, not against a man like Eli. But hatred has its own fire. Cole raised his rifle. Last chance, Turner. Step aside. Eli didn't move. Behind him, Aiyana stood in the doorway, trembling. She could see the same cruelty in their eyes that had cast her out once before. Only this time, she wasn't alone. A shot rang out, then silence. The bullet struck the ground near Eli's boots. Next one won't miss, Cole snarled. Eli aimed his rifle calmly. Neither will mine. For what felt like eternity, no one moved. The night air was thick, heavy with the weight of choices. Then, one by one, the riders lowered their guns. Cole spat again and turned his horse. This ain't over, he muttered, riding off into the darkness. When they were gone, Eli lowered his weapon and exhaled slowly. His hands were steady, but his heart wasn't. Aiyana stepped closer, tears glistening. You could have been killed. He looked at her gently. Maybe. But some things are worth dying for. The next morning, the world felt different, quieter, softer. The sun rose over the plains, casting golden light across the cabin. Aiyana stood outside, feeling the warmth on her skin. For the first time since her banishment, she didn't feel invisible. She didn't feel unwanted. She felt free. Eli joined her, 2 mugs of coffee in his hands. You planning on staying a while? He asked with a faint smile. She turned to him, her hair catching the sunlight. If I am welcome. He nodded. You are. Aiyana smiled, a small, fragile thing, but real. Together they watched the river flow, carrying away the ashes of fear and doubt. Weeks later, life settled into a rhythm. They worked the land, shared stories, and slowly built trust. The locals still whispered, but Eli didn't care. His heart had long been a battlefield, now it had found peace. One evening, as storm clouds gathered, Aiyana spoke softly. In my tribe, there's a saying, the sky does not judge the river for where it runs. You taught me that people can be like that too. Eli looked at her thoughtfully. Maybe that's what the world needs, fewer judges, more rivers. She smiled. Then let us be the river. Thunder rolled across the plains. Rain began to fall, washing the dust from the earth, from their faces, from their hearts. Under that storm, 2 souls, once broken, now mended, stood together. When the rain stopped, a rainbow stretched across the sky. Aiyana raised her hands toward it, whispering words in her language, a prayer of thanks. Eli watched her, realizing he had found something he hadn't known he was searching for, not love, exactly, but purpose. In saving her, he had saved a part of himself. Aiyana turned to him and said, You gave me a home when I had none. For that, I will always carry your name in my heart. He smiled softly. You don't owe me anything. Just promise me this, whatever happens next, you keep fighting. She nodded. I will. And with that promise, the chapter of her exile ended, and a new one began, not defined by what the world saw, but by what they chose to become together. As the sun set behind them, her voice rose in song once more, a melody of freedom, of rebirth, of hope echoing across the vast, golden land. In a world that often judges too quickly, kindness can change a life. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, because every story we tell brings us closer to the humanity we all share.